Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a question that has some pretty profound implications. Can your expectations of someone actually change their reality? We're going to dive into a classic experiment that put this exact idea to the test.
So let's really think about this for a second. This isn't just about whether having high expectations can make someone try a little harder. The real question is, can what a teacher believes about a student actually fundamentally change that student's measured IQ?
All right, let's set the scene. The year is 1965, and we're at a public elementary school called Oak School. A couple of researchers, Robert Rosenthal and Lenore Jacobson, show up to run an experiment. And nobody, not the students and not even the teachers, really knew what was being tested.
So how in the world do you design an experiment to test the power of a prophecy? Well, you've got to create one out of thin air.
The setup was, well, it was brilliant and kind of sneaky. First, every student took what they were told was a fancy new test from Harvard. Then the researchers told the teachers, hey, this test is amazing. It can tell us which of your students are about to have a massive intellectual growth spurt. But here's the secret sauce. The researchers just randomly picked about 20% of the kids and told their teachers, these ones right here, these are your bloomers.
And this is the absolute key to the whole thing. That Harvard test? Totally fake. The kids labeled as spurters or bloomers, chosen completely 100% at random. The only thing that was different about them was the brand new expectation that had just been planted in the minds of their teachers.
With that little seed of an idea planted, the researchers basically just walked away. They let the school year play out, business as usual, and when they came back at the end of the year, they gave everyone a real IQ test. The big question was, did that false belief actually create a new reality?
And what they found, honestly, it was pretty mind-blowing. Let's dig into the numbers and see just how powerful this effect really was. Okay, so check this out. Across the entire school, the kids in the control group gained a very respectable 8.4 IQ points. But the spurters, those randomly chosen kids who teachers thought were special, they gained 12.2 points. That's a nearly 4-point gap, which is statistically a really big deal.
But that overall number, it actually hides an even crazier story. Because when you zoom in on the youngest, most impressionable students, that's where the teacher's expectations seem to have a supercharged effect.
I mean, just look at these numbers for the first and second graders. It's whoa. The spurters in these early grades gained an average of 21 IQ points. Their classmates in the control group gained just 8. The prophecy wasn't just fulfilled, it was turbocharged. It really suggests that the younger you are, the more powerful these expectations can be.
Let's put that another way, just to let it sink in. For the regular kids in those early grades, about 1 in 5 had a huge IQ jump of 20 points or more. But for the kids who teachers expected to bloom, it was almost half. Nearly 1 out of every 2 saw that same massive gain.
And you might think that's the whole story, but nope. It gets even weirder and more specific when you start breaking the data down by things like gender.
So this is wild. The prophecy wasn't just a generic get smarter card. It was like it amplified what was already there. At this particular school, the boys already had a tiny edge in verbal skills, and that's exactly where they bloomed. The girls had a slight edge in reasoning, and that's where their IQs shot up.
And then there's this. This is the part that just makes your jaw drop. If you look at the girls who are in the average or middle academic track, the effect is just off the charts. The spurter girls in this group gained 42 more reasoning IQ points than the girls in the control group. 42! It's like for these girls, who weren't seen as superstars or as struggling, just having a teacher believe in them was completely transformative.
The plot thickens even more when you look at minority students. The researchers found that for Mexican boys, the more a teacher perceived them as looking typically Mexican, the bigger their IQ gain was if they were labeled a bloomer. Now, the researchers guessed that this was because those kids had the most to gain. The teacher's unspoken, pre-existing expectations for them might have been the lowest to begin with.
Okay, so this all leads to the big multi-million-dollar question, right? What on earth was actually happening here? Why did a simple, totally false belief have such a powerful effect, especially on the little kids?
So the researchers had a few ideas. For one, younger kids are just more, well, malleable. They don't have a fixed reputation as a smart kid or a struggling kid yet. But it could also be about the teachers themselves. Think about it. A teacher who expects a kid to succeed might give them a little more time to answer a question, they might smile or nod more, they might offer warmer, more detailed feedback.
All these tiny, subtle signals add up to a totally different, richer learning environment. And this whole incredible phenomenon got a name from this very study, the Pygmalion effect. It's named after an old Greek myth about a sculptor who falls in love with a statue he carved, and his belief is so strong that she actually comes to life. It is the ultimate self-fulfilling prophecy. The simple belief that someone can succeed, in and of itself, helps create that success.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does this mean for you and me? The Oak School experiment wasn't really about a magic test. It was about the incredible power we all have, the subtle, often unconscious prophecies we create for the people around us every single day. And the question this amazing study leaves us with is a really powerful one. What reality are your expectations creating?